Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 80 of Build Your Stash and Craft. This week we are going to make some shelves with drawers in it, with little drawer pulls on our drawers so that they have little handles, and I'm going to show you how to do that. This was my prototype to get my measurements, and I actually glued it upside down, so right now it doesn't have a top on it, but it will when we make the one that we're making. So I want to go ahead first and show you the measurements, and so that you can either like pause it here or take a screenshot or something. But these are the measurements to mark out your board. We will have a few extra pieces here, and these two little pieces here. But what it is we are going to, the very first cut that you make, you will make it 17.5 inches to cut this board, not necessarily in half, but into two pieces. And then your shelves are going to be 2 inches by 17.5 inches, and there will be 4 shelves. And then on top of that, you will cut 4, or these are the supports to hold up the shelves, and then you will cut 4 shelves at 3 inches by 12.5 inches, and you will cut 3 of those, and that will take up this full piece of board except for this extra piece. Then we'll move on to the back support, or the holding support, which you can do this with this foam core board, or you could do this with a piece of cardboard. Either way will work, and then you would have this foam core board back. But the way that you're going to cut that is you will have this piece that is 18.5 inches across, because we're going to cut off 1.5 inches here, and it'll be 12.5 inches tall. And we are going to cut off this 1.5 inches. And then we are going to come in from this side, and we are going to score it at 3 inches. We're going to come in from this side and score it at 3 inches. And then we're going to come up 3.5 inches from the bottom and score it across here. Now to score these, what you do is you just cut the paper at the top level. Don't cut the foam, don't cut the paper on the bottom. Just cut this first one, and then when you snap it, it will stay in one, it'll stay together. It will fold and stay together. Once we've scored all of these, we are going to cut off these 2 squares. Okay. Now, if you remember, it's best to leave along this edge. This is going to be the base of our shelving unit. And if you cut this over 1/4 of an inch, when you cut off this square and cut over 1/4 of an inch, that leaves it so that when this folds up, it sits on top of that. If you cut it exactly in line with this, when this folds up, it will actually be just outside the edge. It won't make a difference because these are getting glued to the side. So, but if you think about it, if you cut just a little bit extra here or leave a little extra here, that will just work a little bit better. So again, I'm going to just put this here for a second. I hope that you can see it, and I did go through the measurements. We'll go through them as we cut it, but I just wanted to make it, and I hope that that shadow's not too bad. I'm not sure if I can bring this light in to make it any better. Let me see. Let me see if I can bring this light up closer and see if that makes it any better. So those are all of your measurements that you'll need, so you can write that down so you can mark out your board. Okay, so we're going to do the cutting. I'm going to cheat. I don't normally cheat, and when I actually made the sample one, I did use my ruler, and I used cardboard to cut it, but to make it faster, because building videos are so long, I'll get rid of that, that I am going to use a cutting mat underneath, which we do not have for our series, but you can do this with what you have. You can do it with your cutting board underneath, or you can do it with cardboard underneath, just making sure that you do not cut through the cardboard onto your surface of whatever you're cutting on. I am going to use our knife, and the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my board at the 17.5 inch mark to cut it into my 2 pieces, and then we will cut our shelves and our supports. So I'm just going to line this up. Whenever you're cutting foam core board, it is easiest to make a few cuts versus trying to cut it all through at once. And there we go. Okay, now this is our backing piece, and we're going to put that aside for later. Now what we are going to do is these are our 4 upright supports, and they are 17.5 inches across by 2 inches tall. And I'm just going to, I'm just going to cut these 4 supports. wait, I did something wrong. I didn't really do it wrong, but I'm going to show you something that's easier. Before you cut these all apart and have to score them all individually, cut your score line first. And this score line is only on these uprights. So we're just going to cut just through the paper on the top level. There we go. Now I'm going to come over to the other side over here. I hope you can see this, but if not, I'm just cutting. These are 2 3/4 from the edge is where this score line is going. And there we go. Now we don't have to score those all individually after we cut them apart. If you forget to do that, you can just do each one separately. It's not a big deal. And my knife is broken, so my knife keeps sticking out very far. I try and hold it back and I forget sometimes. But it still works well. Just be very careful. If your knife breaks, just be really careful with it because it does like to slip around. Okay. And also, I'm going to plug in my hot glue gun really quick because we are going to need that. Okay. Sorry about that. Didn't want to forget about that. Where's the knife? Okay. And again, just remember, make a few passes until it releases. And we're going to cut this last one. And the uprights are what support your shelf. By doing an upright, your shelves are so much more sturdier. They will last a lot longer. If you just try gluing a shelf to a side piece without a support underneath, they're just not as sturdy. Whatever you glue it with eventually will come off. I'm going to cut off this extra piece now, and then we will cut our shelves, and then we're going to glue our uprights and our shelves together. And hopefully our glue gun will be heated up by then. Okay, so now I cut off that extra piece. And I wanted to show you, because this came from the Dollar Tree, there is a little bit extra for 3 inches, 3 inches. There's a touch extra here. These boards are not exactly 20 by 30. It's not a big deal, and I'm not really going to cut that off. I just wanted to show it to you. That shelf will just wind up being just, looks like about 1/8 of an inch bigger than all the rest. If you want it to be perfect and have them all exactly 3 inches, you can cut that off. But I just kind of did want to let you know that they're not perfect, because in case you get yours measured out and think, why do I have a little bit extra? It's probably not you, it's probably the board. And just one more to go. And so this time I'm using hot glue. I do not normally use hot glue. I normally hold a base for it all to sit in and it all fits inside. But this time I am going to show you how to do it with hot glue, just in case you want to do it that way. Now remember, we scored on both ends of this. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to snap this and fold it, and snap it and fold it. And now it looks like this. See, now this is going to hold your shelf on 3 sides. It'll hold across the back and on both sides, and it will make your shelf so much sturdier. So we're going to do that with all 4 of these. Make sure we do it the right way. There we go. And then all we're going to do is, I am going to put the hot glue on the shelf and then put it on the support. You can do it whichever way you feel most comfortable with. This is just the way that I feel most comfortable with it, and hopefully our hot glue is hot. And I'm going to choose to put the writing on the bottom. So that's the side I'm going to put the glue on. And I'm going to have to move pretty quickly, I think, with this one, because the glue is not super hot, which means it's going to dry faster. Oh, come on, stick, get in there. And I did use, I believe, about 3 glue sticks to do the last one that I did. Okay, and then I am just going to put this on here. Maybe do it this way. And yeah, my glue really wasn't hot enough, and so it dried very fast. But we're just going to line it up at the back and line it up at both sides. I'm going to have to put some more on here. And press it down. Just be careful not to burn yourself. And there we go. So there is our first one. And now I am just going to continue to build it by putting the hot glue on the shelf along the back and both ends, and then putting the next support on. And the thing about this is that you don't want to make them too tall. You're better off to try and make more than one if you need a lot of space. Hold on, I need to untangle myself here. You're better off making more than one than to make like maybe 8 shelves tall or something like that, because you know these are so thin that they get a little bit top heavy, and so you know if you build them too tall, they might want to tip over. You can just line that up and press it on. And try and keep that glue as close to the edges as possible, because your foam core board is only 1/4 of an inch wide. So if you come in too far, you're not going to catch the glue. And you may want to, if your foam core board cuts kind of if it has rough spots on it, choose which sides you want to put towards the back. Like, see, this has a little bit of a ding out of it right here. So maybe I should have put that towards the back, and then you wouldn't see it. It all just depends on, you know, how you want it. If that's going to bother you or not. And how you're going to decorate it. If you're going to cover it up with paper or something, you can just cover that up and you won't see it anyways. It's just like playing with blocks. Just build it up taller and taller. And this is our last shelf. Now, if you wanted to, if you don't want to put the back support on it, what you can do is cut one more shelf, 12.5 inches by 3 inches, and put it on the bottom. And, oops, I need another glue stick. And put that on the bottom, and you can be done. To me, I like to cover it with something to hold it all together. I want something solid holding on to it. But this is what it looks like so far. That was nice and quick and easy. And like I said, if you want, you can put a shelf on the bottom and you can be done right there. And then if you cover it with your water glue and your and some newspaper or tissue paper or anything really, so that you cover it all in solid pieces, that will also make it sturdy, and you don't need the back piece. You just need another bottom shelf and you're good to go. Or you can put it this way and have 3 shelves and have an open shelf where you can put taller items on. But I'm going to show you how to do the back. And like I said, you can do this out of cardboard. But I'm going to cut off this extra 1.5 inches. Get the glue gun out of the way. So that this piece, instead of being 20 inches wide, is only 18.5 inches wide. So it's 18.5 inches wide 10, 11, 12 and a quarter inches tall. That's what we have here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to score it here. And I'm going to stop at this line because I want to move over and cut that corner off, but I do want that little extra 1/4 of an inch right there. And I did not measure this, I just moved over a little bit and drew a line. So I'm going to cut this corner off. There we go. Get rid of that corner. Now we're going to score it right across here at 3 1/4 inches up from the bottom. Okay, and then I'm going to cut off this extra piece over here. Whoops, you can't see that. I'm cutting off just this corner right here, leaving an extra 1/4 of an inch along this bottom piece. And then I'm going to score this. This is, how wide is that? I believe it's, I'm going to have to look. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. I'm just going to score this here. And that score line is 3 inches. 3 inches from the outside edge to the score line. And then I'm going to, instead of cutting straight down from that 3-inch line, I'm moving over this way just a 1/4 of an inch. That's going to just make my base a 1/4 of an inch wider on this side. There, so we're going to get rid of that corner. Okay, now we're going to bend it on the score lines. And bend it on this score line. And now, when we fold in, when we fold this in, now this side sits on top of that little 1/4 inch we left. If we had cut that off, they would just kind of meet. They would just kind of come together like that. But it doesn't matter. Now this is what we have. This is our base, and this is what is going to hold our upright, just so that it's all one kind of big solid piece in the back to hold it all together. Now, remember when you do this, don't glue the top, which actually has a shelf on it, to this bottom piece, because that's what I did with the last one. That's why it looked a little funny. So we're going to go ahead, and what I'm going to do first is I am just going to put some glue on the back. It doesn't need to be a whole ton. And then I'm just going to kind of pull up my flaps to make sure I'm in the right spot. And then just push that down. Now I'm going to go ahead and put glue on this side. And pull that one up. And put some glue on this side. And now again, when you decorate this, if you decorate it with some water glue and paper and tissue paper, that will even make it sturdier. Okay, and then for the bottom, I'm just going to put glue here and across the back upright. I'm going to put it on each end and across this back here. And fold that in. Just give that a really good press. And that's our bottom. And there we go. Now we have a 4-shelf unit that's really going to be nice and sturdy. And now we'll make the drawers. The drawers are already made. And what I did was I just made little pulls on them. And I did make these shelves taller than the drawers. These shelves are 2 inches. The drawers are just over an inch. The reason I did that was because if I put something a little bit taller in the drawer, I can still fit the drawer in there. If you want to go ahead and make this shorter, instead of going up the 2 inches, you can just go down like 1 1/4 inch and it will come to the top of the shelf. You can cut them that size if you want to. But so I have 3 drawers done. And the way that I made the little handles on the drawers, we have this one left to do, is I just cut on my, on our paper trimmer, I just cut 1/4 inch strips, and then I used the bead roller. And the 1/4 inch strips, what I did, in order to make sure that you have color on the edges, I'm going to set this aside for a second. In order to make sure that you have color on the edge of your bead, all you do is just take your marker and run it down along the edge. Let's see if I flip this over. Run it down along the edge of your paper. You don't have to even get it on the paper. You're trying to color the side of the paper. So just run it down the edge on both sides, and then when you roll it up, the sides of your beads will be colored instead of being white. If you forget to do that, then just color them afterwards. And if you go inside, it doesn't matter. If you mess up and make marks on it, the only part of the bead that you're going to see is about this last inch, inch and a half, and that you're going to want to color solid. If you want the inside of your bead to be a solid color instead of white, then you would flip it over and color just maybe 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch. All you need is enough to go around your bead roller one time. And that's the inside. And then the inside of your bead will be purple. Then just go ahead. Now I cut these absolutely straight, 1/4 of an inch straight. I didn't want a tapered bead because we're going to use this to make our drawer pulls. And so I didn't want to put a tapered bead on there. You can try a tapered bead. And the reason I made it 1/4 of an inch and not 1/2 of an inch is because of the size of our, what do you call those? Paper fasteners, brads, and they're just over, I think they're just over 1/2 an inch. When you get to the end, I just take it off, make sure that I push both sides good together because I want them to be flat, and put a little glue on it. And there we go. Now we have a purple bead with purple edges, purple inside, and purple on the outside. And then we just take one of our brads and then put it through there, and that just holds the brad. It's what makes the knob. It holds it away from the wire so you can actually get a hold of it. Now I didn't really measure these. I just went ahead and kind of said okay. And I know that it's 2 diamonds down from the top. And so I just did it like that. Put your brad through the hole. I need to put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, that's going to be better. All right. It's approximately here. Go down to the second little diamond. And then just go ahead and open up your brad just like that. And that is how you make the drawer pull. And I had another one here already made. Here it is. And I dropped it on the floor. Okay, and this one I'm going to say is right about here. And if they're not even, I can always later on go and even them out if it bothers me. But there we go. And that one goes in there, and that one goes in there. And that's what we have, a 4-drawer storage unit. Now this is going to work perfect to hold all of our little round containers that we put all our different product in. And that's what it looks like from the top. And you just go ahead and you just grab your little knobs, pull it out, check out what you want, and push it back in. So you don't have to put the little knobs on there because we made the shelves taller than these pieces. You can just reach in there and grab it. If you make a tight shelf, you really do kind of want knobs on it because it's hard to get out if you make it flush. So, but that's how that works. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you have fun making some storage for yourself. I always have a good time making storage. And thank you very much for watching. I'm going to be back in just 1 second with what we need for next week. Okay, I'm back, and next week we're going to play with plaster. So I picked up this 4-pound box of plaster from Walmart for $3.97. So that's all we're going to need to purchase for next week. So that'll be $4. We had $11.50 in the bank, so that saves $1. We have $12.50 in our bank now. And we're going to need this. We'll need some of our little flowers, our little silk flowers that we had bought at the Dollar Tree a while back. Maybe some of our twine, some different things like that. Things that we already have in our stash. So this is what we're going to pick up from next week from Walmart for $4, a 4-pound box of plaster of Paris. So that is our video for this week. I do hope that you enjoyed it. You'll have to let me know if you make one and how you like it. I'm going to fill this all up with all of my little round things, which now I have scattered all over the place, and it'll be nice to have them in one nice spot. So I really do appreciate you all stopping by. If you enjoy the videos, please like and share them. And thank you very much for watching. I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.